Yo, 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 what up, guys? It's your boy Kevin. We're back with another video. We're going to be talking about Cleric Clickies. I actually created this guide already, but I wanted to make a video for it just to explain some of the thought process behind here and what a priority might be for you as a cleric. Make sure you check the webpage when you're looking for the newest information. I'm not going to re-upload a new video every time I do make edits, and likely I will be making some changes every now and then. If you do like this video, please make sure to like it, and also please subscribe to the channel. So we're just going to go down by era. So we'll do like classic, Kunark, Bilius, etc. So the first we'll go over classic here. You want to get J boots in classic. It's pretty much a no-brainer. It's going to increase your run speed. If you're a human or an erudite, you can get this Terror Forge mask. This will give you a clicky fear. It's not really a high priority because the cast time on this is so long, but it's just kind of like a fun clicky to have. And you might be able to use it like in a pinch if you don't have Fear Memmed. Another thing you can get is Regent Symbol of Kunark. And this is if you're a cleric. Shamans can use this too. But you have to be a human, a dark elf, or a troll. And you also have to be Kunark. So keep that in mind. But this will give you a 6-second snare. Clerics do not get snare otherwise. So this is kind of a nice item to have. Now the snare effect on it isn't very strong, but it's better than nothing. So next we have Shield of the Immaculate. This is going to give you Cure Disease, instant cast clicky. It's got a 1-second cooldown now since the nerf, but it's still pretty good. Clerics don't really get a very good Cure Disease spell. It doesn't have a lot of counters on it, so this is probably the most effective way to cure a disease spell in general, at least up until Eldon and or up until Legacy of Yekasha and later. This would probably be your best bet. For Kunark, we have Blazing Van Braces. This comes from the Skyfire mob on the Cleric Epic. This will give you a 12-point damage shield clicky that you can cast on anyone, and it's instant cast. So that's a really nice pickup if it does drop off the dragon. It doesn't always drop, so keep that in mind. Next, we have Defender of the Faithful Heart. This is from the new Kunark quest that they put in the game. I think this is available in actual Kunark in era. I don't think you have to wait till later. I could be wrong. I haven't played on a TLP server where Kunark is the most recent. But if you can't get this, pick this up as soon as you can. It gives you a clicky you can cast on anybody. You can cast it on level 1s as well. And it's going to increase your strength, agility, stamina, and dex by 20. So it's just a nice little low-level buffer. You can get, next we have Earring of Cleansing. This is going to be a counteract poison clicky for the 5-second cast time. And then the same thing here, Earring of Purity, 5-second counteract disease clicky. If you have Shield of the Immaculate, you probably won't be using this. So just if you have that, maybe you probably won't need that one. Fungus Covered Greatstaff. This is the pre-nerf version. This will give you a self heal. You don't really need this. It does snare you as well. But if you want to pick it up for fun, or it might be some minor situations where you use it. This is a pretty low priority though, but it is kind of nice, fun toy to have. This one here is really low priority. This is going to give you a greater right-click, greater healing. Shishar Apothec Staff. It's not that great because the cast time is so long. It gives you 7 seconds, but in the Kunark era, it might be okay to like save you some mana, or if you're out of mana completely, you can still kind of spam this, which is nice. But its uses are pretty limited once you are out of Kunark. The next is the Cleric Epic. Obviously, you want to get that. It's got a 96% res on it. It's a clicky. Vilius, we have Chestplate of Stability. This will give you a 20% reverse damage shield clicky. The cast time on it is really long, so it will save you a spell slot though if you want to cast reverse DS on stuff. But just keep in mind the cast time is 9 seconds. You get better versions later, so this is situationally useful, but it's something you can get if you want. We have Greaves of Forbidden Rites. These are really good. This is a right-click group heal. It takes 12 seconds to cast, but if you run out of mana, this is really nice. You can just spam this on your whole group and keep everyone alive to a certain extent. It heals for 500, and if I remember correctly, it is affected by healing mods as well. So once you get into later expansions where you have focus items, this is pretty strong. So if you run out of mana, nice item to have. Ring of Dane Frostweaver IV. This is really low priority. It's kind of nice to have some extra damage shield if you're like maybe power leveling people or something like that, but I wouldn't go out of your way for this one. One thing I forgot to mention was this Polymorph Wand Forest Fairy. You can buy this from the Daybreak store for 750 points. It's a self-only levitate. And also, it's also going to give you an illusion, so you actually have to dismount to cast this. And then you can click the illusion off, and then you can remount after that. But I'm not sure if it actually shows up in Vilius. It shows up somewhere between Vilius and Plains of Power. But just keep an eye out on the store for that, because this is a really useful item until you are able to get Shield of Striding, which we'll talk about later in the Plains of Power section. Starting in Luckland, we have Arm Guard of Piety. This is the best poison cure you're going to be able to get up until Legacy of Yekasha. Maybe even after that, I'm not sure. But it's a right-click abolish poison. It only has a 5-second cast time, so that's really nice. So next we have Bracelet of the Shadow Hive. This is a 1-second shrink clicky that you can click on anybody in your group. So it's a really fast cast. This is a really awesome quality of life item. If you can't get this one, we will talk about Wand of Imperceptibility later. Circle of Smoke is a right-click gate. This is a really good quality of life item. It's got 10-second cast, but I pretty much use this all the time. And I try to get it on all my casters, so I don't ever mend gate on any of my characters. Next is Cloudy Steel Mask. This is a right-click invisibility. This is probably pretty low priority. The stats for a cleric, it's not that great. It doesn't really have any wisdom. Its mana is kind of low. It does have a right-click invisibility, though, but it's 15-second cast time, so you're probably not going to be using this too often, but if you want to pick it up, or you can, it's just something that you can pick up for fun. Crimson Ring of Judgment. This is really good. This will give you 250 to your maximum mana pool. It is like an AA grant, so it kind of gives it to you like in the form of an AA, but this is a really nice item to get additional mana. Ring of Immobilization. This is a right-click root ring. This is also very useful to have. If you don't want to mem root, which a lot of time as a cleric, you're not going to have root memmed. This is really good. You could use root anyway. So if you can get that, that's a nice pickup. Shadowed Storm Sphere. This is going to give you 3 mana regen, but it's also a rune. So it's basically like you right click it, it'll give you a rune, and then the rune effect will give you 3 mana regen. So if you get hit, I think that it only takes about 75 damage maybe, if I remember correctly, 100, something like that. And then the rune will disappear off of you. So this will give you 3 mana regen, but it will poof if you're taking any type of damage. But if you're hiding behind a wall, you're not taking any damage like that during a raid, it's really good for some extra mana regen. Shawl of Awakenings. This is going to give you plus 5 mana regen in the form of an AA grant. So this is really good pickup here. These studded leather boots. These will give you a Sow. It's self only though. You can't cast this on others. Wand of Imperceptibility. This is a self-only shrink item. This is a nice little item to have if you're like raiding or you need to get into smaller areas with a lot of people. Starting with Plains of Power. A lot of these are going to be like stat benefit items as Plains of Power starts to pick up with the clickies in terms of like increasing your stats. The first one is Shawl of Eternal Forces. This is going to give you plus 8 mana regen in the form of an AA grant. And this will override the one from the Emperor. I think it's the Emperor. Or no, the one from... Let's see, which one had it? Shawl of Awakenings? Who's that from? Yeah, that's from the Emperor. So it's going to overwrite the one from the Emperor here. So give you an additional 3 mana regen over that one. Next we have Prismatic Ring of Resistance. It's probably pretty low priority. In terms of the clicky, it's going to give you some AC and some resist. However, the stats on this are really good for a cleric. This is best in slot for clerics, so you're going to want to pick this up anyway, just because the stats on it are so good. Girdle of Intense Durability. This is a 15-point damage shield. This is really nice to have if you're power leveling, things like that. I'd recommend picking this up if you can. I probably wouldn't bid on it over a tank, but if no tanks want it, I would say go ahead and bid on this one. Black Flame Sphere. This is going to give you a right-click remove Greater Curse. It's a 7.5-second cast time, so it's slower than your regular spell, but it's nice to have if you just need to use it once or twice, and you don't have to mend the spell this way. Ultar Greaves of Faith. This is another reverse damage shield. Now you see the last one we talked about was 20 reverse damage shield. This one's 34. And this one also only has a cast time of 4 seconds. So this one is way better than the other one, which had a cast time of 9. So these are basically your elemental legs. So you're going to want to pick these up. And this is really nice Clicky to have. For the next item, we have Breastplate of Vengeful Fury. This is going to give you a spell haste buff. You don't. It's a I forget. Yeah, Blessing of Reverence. So you don't have to memorize Blessing of Reverence anymore. So this is a really nice pickup as well. It's from the Plane of Power Ornate class quest. So you're going to need to get the mold for this, but this is a really nice Clicky to have. Eye of Dreams. This will overwrite. This will give you plus 400 mana in terms of an AA grant, and it's going to overwrite the one from Luckland as well, which is Crimson Ring of Judgment. So it's 150 mana more than this ring here. So you want to pick that up. Next we have War Disciples Focus. This comes off of a group mob in Plane of Tactics. This is also an Abolish Poison. However, this one is a 7-second cast time, so it's not quite as good as the Armed Guards of Piety from Vexthal that we spoke about a minute ago. But if you don't have the Vexthal one, this is a good pickup here. And Shield of Striding. I think this comes out in Planes of Power. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it does. But it comes from Khazak Thul. This should say 2.0 here, from the higher level version one, where the mobs are about level 50. This is the instant cast, self-only levitation. Really nice to have. Very good, very good. I would definitely pick this one up as soon as you can. So lastly, we have Lost Dungeons of Norath. You want to pick up Cloak of the Fleeting Foot. This is going to be a Sal you can cast on anybody, and it only has a 3-second cast time. It's really nice to have for a Cleric, and you can buff low levels with it. You can buff yourself with it. You can buff your boxes, things like that. This is a really good item to get. I would try to get this as a high priority. Next, we have Dark Phylactery, however you say it. It's going to be a right-click instant cast regeneration spell. This is like a long quest you'll do that comes out when Eldon comes out. This is really nice to have as a Cleric too. A Cleric with a regeneration. A lot of people don't expect you to cast that, but when you do, they're really surprised. So this is really good for casting on low-level players. I like to just have it because I think this is a really fun item to have, and the quest is kind of interesting too. And lastly, we have Band Braces of bugging out here. Band Braces of Fractured Bone. This is really low priority. This is from Eldon raids. It's going to give you Ward of Gallantry, which is your pop level AC spell. And since you're basically using Virtue all the time, this is essentially a useless item. It's good if you're going to be casting Symbol on somebody, but I wouldn't really prioritize this over anything. Just get it if you can. But that's pretty much everything, and I hope this was helpful. If it was, please like the video and please subscribe. All right, thanks guys. Bye.